Hello, everybody. Good evening. This is it then, the main event. You've seen the pre-show, you've seen all the hype, and it's finally time. It is the Championship 5 for the Cup Series here in Season 4. We've been all looking forward to this all season. I've been looking forward to it all season. We love these races. 5 people in the running. We've got Jamie Wright, we've got Arnold de Grief, Kieran Spears, Kyle Smith and Matthew Redmore. One of those drivers is going to become JACKOCAR Cup Series champion tonight. We could see our first ever double champion, but here in Texas, anything can happen. As always, I'm your commentator Owen White. With me will be Jacko.
Hello, I'm ready as well. Believe it or not, you gave us enough time, but thank you, Owen. It's the big one, isn't it? Championship 5 night. We saw on Tuesday absolutely anything can happen. Quinn and Yuri very much on their way, one of them to winning a title, and then the race flipped on its head. A safety car, bit of rain, and Nils, chase champion, went on to win the title. Will we get something similar like that tonight? Kieran, he's progressively got better and faster as the season's gone on. He comes into this not as an underdog, but very much one of the 5 that could win it, and the other 4 naturally very fast. With us, Owen, Gareth Hall, Kia Series driver, missed out on winning that Kia Series championship the other day, but he's here now to join us in commentary.
Yes, thank you, Jacko. Thanks, Owen. Great to be here, and thank you for opening up that very, very sore wound from Tuesday night. It's, still recovering from that one, and I'm sure Yuri is as well. But fantastic night it was. So unfortunately, just missed out on the championship, but absolutely delighted to be back in commentary for the first time in a while, and here in JACKOCAR. It's one I've had my eye on for a while. Really enjoyed the season as part of a driver, and really, really delighted to be joining you part of the Championship 5 tonight.
Yeah, and what a race we've got in prospect. I mean, we've had some good ones around here before. We've always had dramatic Championship 5s, and they always get closer and closer every season. We've always managed a great race. And so I'm absolutely fascinated to see what everyone's going to be up to tonight. You'll notice there's no one on track. That is for once intentional. It's not a glitch this time because obviously with 3 commenters in the box, there's only 19 drivers, which is why we're waiting for Jess, who will be the first one out. She does have a quality ban though, so she won't do a lap. But obviously the Championship 5, they'll be going out right at the end. So these guys are going to set a benchmark to see where these 5 are going to end up, because this qualifying session, of course, is so vital.
Yeah, Jess picking up that qualifying ban in Monaco for impeding Camo Babo and Thomas on there. But I believe it was hot laps, actually. So not her shiniest moment this season, let's say, but picked up a podium on Tuesday. That's 2 for the season in Kia Series, and held her own in the Cup Series, filling in for one of the drivers that left earlier on. So Jess will have a poor qualifying tonight, but she's had a great season overall. So we will ride on board with her, get used to this track, and see what the Championship 5 drivers have in store later on.
I think what we have to mention with Jess is she's making her sort of a huge step up this season. We've been seeing her in Kia and in Cup, and she's been getting faster, more consistent. It's been great to see Jess. Is of course huge. She's almost everyone's hype man in the chats as well. She loves being out there driving around with everyone, and she's definitely growing in talent. And it's definitely she's a driver to watch out for a possible C5 in Kia next season.
Well, she got a podium, didn't she, in the week in Tuesday's race, so obviously she's on good form, and I would agree she might well be one of the drivers to watch coming forward, and that's good to see because, well, she's often been the butt of a few jokes here, hasn't she, but she's just moved away from that, which is nice to see, and could be another good one tonight, obviously from the back. The only way is forward from there, so we'll see how she gets on.
Yeah, you still hear echoes of your voice every night, every time I go to sleep, Owen, from Baku Season 1 when she got in the way of Yuri and ended his race. I think ended his playoff hopes as well. I think it was that far into the season. But yeah, very much improving, and of course her consistency as well, where she doesn't retire. She's always scoring points. As such is the way to score points in the league. You have to finish, and that's why she had a warranted playoff run in Kia. She's coming towards the end of her lap now. We will move on to Risky, who will be the first to set a legitimate lap, providing he keeps it between the lines.
Now, I find it interesting. You can see with the track condition that we have it running at sunset, and you can see just how bright the track is. And I wonder if that's going to distract some of the drivers as they head out on their laps, because certainly heading down that long back straight, and even through the early portions of Sector 3, there's a lot that you're not going to be able to focus on as well. You can see it on board Risky, just sort of what they're having to deal with. And little distractions like that can cause problems in a one-shot qualifying situation. You only have one try at this, and the amount of times you can see invalidations going wrong. I mean, that's what Risky's done in that penultimate corner, just going wide. Do that on a flying lap, you're in major trouble. But here it is, the first lap of the Championship 5 qualifying session. Very exciting stuff. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, as Risky's going to make his way up to turn 1, and you've got to turn in nicely, make sure you don't kick the back end up too much. It's downhill very, very quickly, and then you approach this very fast sweeping section. Of course, it's a Tilkadrome here. It's Maggots and Beckett's done 2.0 and made a little bit bigger and better for the States, but into what gets, I mean, you just scrub off speed with every corner through to turn 9 here, and this is the one that might catch you out, and there you go, as Risky runs out wide on entry and on exit, so he will be joining Jess at the back of the grid for this one, and it's not really been a season to remember for Risky. It's been on and off. He's had a couple of races where he's not really been on the pace, and unfortunately he's making his life even harder starting at the back this week.
Yeah, and I thought for a second there, Gareth, you were going to recreate the hot lap you did in our build-up just then, but yeah, no, Risky's not had the best of seasons, and it's a shame as well, because he come into this season winning the only test race that we had. We normally have 2 of them, and he genuinely thought he had a chance, and we all did, such as the randomness that the league provides. But yeah, not the season he would have wanted it's turned out. As we move on to Ben Harrett, the first of the 2 Bens, coming into the final corner to begin what will hopefully be the first lap. Try again, Owen.
Yeah, let's see if Ben can carry forward his momentum from Monaco last week, his best ever finish in the league, getting through all that chaos at the ends, and I wonder how much that's going to be played on the drivers' minds tonight. If you missed Monaco, I'll quickly give you a summary. There was utter carnage with what was it, 7-8 laps to go. We had multi-car pilots as Ben unfortunately goes off the track, and it set up the Championship 5 in a very nice way indeed. But unfortunately, Ben is not able to keep the momentum going forward. He's all over the place as he headed through the S section. Was lucky not to have that thing go round. It's worth pointing out he's had a lot of issues with spinning round at sort of various points this season. That could cause problems in the race for those S sections if the tyres overheat, etc. And it could be where you see safety cars in this league. Obviously, safety cars have much more significance here than you would have in other leagues, because you can't pit in safety cars unless you've got damage. But yeah, we're thinking about who could have issues. OKK, another driver who's sadly found himself facing backwards more than he has the checkered flag, really, it feels like. And he'll be worried a little bit about that as well, because the last thing he'd want to do is compromise, say, a teammate with a spin.
Absolutely, and of course, you may remember OKK found himself in the wall on the inside exit of Turn 1 when we did the short version of USA Short last season, which is quite an incredible place to find yourself. But so far, he's made it further than the other 2. But yeah, not his best season either. Of course, a man coming into this, a 2-time race winner, won the first race and won the first throwback race back in Monza season 2. But can he finally find some form at the end of the season to take into season 5?
Yeah, KK, one of drivers that's equaling, in fact, with R now for the most starts from P20 this season. Unfortunately, it's not be able to start P19 this time, so maybe a little bit better than usual. But hopefully he'll get round the rest of the lap unscathed and make it a bit of a Texas 2-step around this very quick right-hander. It's put to the floor, keep it tucked in, and you just let the car roll out, straighten it up, and then this is a corner might catch up some drivers just kicking it in through the left-hander as Deck goes and does a 33 flat. What can AKK do is he comes up to the final corner, gets a good exit, a little bit of a squiggle on an outside, but it is only a 34.2, so 1.2 seconds off of Deck's time.
Wonder if there's going to be a little bit of an investigation into Deck somehow setting a lap time before OKK, but that's not really meant to happen. But, well, they've set their times. I suppose it's the last race of the season. They'll do whatever they want.
We're not going to give ourselves extra work at this time of the season. We've got a long break until the beginning of March now, so we'll let that one slide. But yeah, Deck actually going out before OKK there. Maybe, I don't know if he's got a timing glitch or something. We've had it all season, Owen. But
yeah.
Welcome to the Madhouse, Gareth. You're here for the entire race. I hope to experience it all.
Well, I'm waiting for an Owen mind unravel like we've seen in Canada and we've seen in Portugal. That's what I'm here for.
Well,
He's hit him!
Well, look, it's what you employ me for, isn't it? So I will give you magic moments of madness. That's well, otherwise, what's the point? But you might even get a few at the end of this qualifying session, depending on how the laps go. Camo Babo heads through the final corner. Tried to kill me multiple times last week when we did some 5-lappers, so I'm not the biggest fan of him anymore. But he has gone P2 and is behind Deck, who obviously set his time a little bit earlier on. It's a 1 minute 33.005. That is the benchmark at the minute. I'm sure that time's going to get beaten by a few at some point, but it's actually quite amazing that we're nearly halfway into the qualifying session. There's only been 3 laps on the board. Vitinho, he looks good though to set the 4th as he heads through. How different could his season have been if he just made it into the playoffs? He was so close, and he goes P1 for now. But yeah, I wonder if he's one to watch for next season as well, because he was so tantalisingly close. He'll be back with a vengeance, I'm sure of it.
Oh, don't forget, he only went out on countback as well to Pete. He'd level on points. In fact, the season review that Dom Smith did for us earlier, the 49 points that Pete and OKK got, it was the lowest points total that we've had for someone to advance into the playoffs without a race win. Of course, OKK holds that record for season 1 with least amount of points. But yeah, not good for Vitinho. He's definitely capable of a lot more. And so is this man, Thomas Stuhlens, potentially his last ever race in JACKOCAR. Who knows? You're telling me he might be retiring to spend more time with his family earlier on. But we'll see how things go. 3-time race winner, Season 1, Championship 5. Can he potentially go out on a high as he comes around these final 2 corners? That's a horrible penultimate corner, that one with the orange curb on the inside. But he's kept it clean and valid for now. Final turn then for Thomas, a little bit loose on exit and across the line into P1 provisionally, a 1:32.2.
Unfortunately for Iceman, he went off in Sector 1, so he is not going to be able to set a lap time. For the second week in a row, it's not going well for him in the qualifying. Perhaps it's a good thing then that Monaco went wrong, because that would be a heartbreaking start to his Championship 5 if he had made it. But of course, we all saw what happened in Monaco. Never gave him a chance, but unfortunately, going to be starting nearer to the back today, which means we can focus on Pete, Season 1 champion. He's had a bit of a lackluster season, mind you. His whole sort of season was building up to winning the race in Russia, and for all intents and purposes, it looked like he was going to be able to do that. But of course, it all went wrong under safety car. Then ended up getting taken out by Deck. Pretty much everything that could have went wrong for him this season has, and so he's here perhaps just to sort of give a little warning what he might be able to do next season. Of course, the inaugural champion of the Cup Series, we all know that, and he knows that everyone would fear him if he was in a championship fight again, but unfortunately it won't be this season.
No, I think Pete, he's had, as you say, an up and down season, maybe not where he wanted to be. Tends to have got caught up in quite a few incidents this season, not of his doing, but, well, yeah, what can he do as he rounds the final corner? He's going to come to line. This time around, you can see, keeps it planted, no back end, but not quick enough to beat Thomas this time. Thomas, who I just noticed got a little bit of a cheeky toe off Camo going down that back straight. So is that 0.3 of a second, just that extra bit of toe that he managed to get off the back of Camo, who was cruising back into the pit lane?
Yeah, I think Thomas may have even got a bit of a toe as well, so that might have been where he gained his time, yeah. But NK Bourne, he's out there. I'm still loving this livery he's got on, by the way. I hope he keeps this one for next season. Absolutely a banger if I've ever seen one. And we'll see if it brings him any lap time. He's shown some good potential, I think, in the second half of the season. I know he didn't really progress very far, but I think he could be one to watch for next season as well. I'm going to say it's of most drivers, but honestly, MK Bourne, his performances, they have been improving. He's gone P5, and yeah, I really would keep my eye on him as well. We're going to have to do a whole set of predictions for the start of next season and see if anyone's ever going to be right, because at this rate, every driver's going to be on my to-watch list, but that's the nature of this league.
Owen's ones to watch. A blast from the past. I remember I used to do the Jacko's ones to watch in
Yes.
ILR before every race week, and then everyone said I was a curse, so I stopped
Oh,
that.
yeah, well, it was a massive curse.
It was, as we watched the end of Jamie Griffiths' lap, of course. Got as far as the round of 8, and now bangs it on pole. For the meantime, taking over from Thomas. Next on track is the... my heart bleeds for him. It's Jake.
Yeah.
With what happened in Monaco last week. But yeah,
Do you know what?
should have been here, but he's not.
He had such a determined performance though in Monaco. I mean, you got to give it to him. I mean, he absolutely gave it everything. And, well, it all fell away just after the start of the final lap. But he's shown he's got the pace, and I suppose it'd be typical now for him to win the race tonight. But at least there's actually an award for winning this race, so he might be able to get some sort of comfort in that, because of course the Championship 5 might not be too focused on winning the race as such, and that could be a chance for him to get his long-awaited victory. But we'll see how the qualifying lap goes for him.
Yeah, and just before I hand over to Gareth, like I was saying in the chat earlier, you don't have to win tonight to the Championship 5, but it's the kind of race where nights like this could come true for Jake to get that elusive first race win as he goes pole on a 132 dead.
Yeah, and I think I'll be happy with that 32 flat there. 0.2 of a second faster than Jamie in second position. So he's got a bit of a buffer there. But obviously it's the big hitters that will be coming out shortly. Of course, we've got the likes of Kieran will be warming up and in fact rolls his way out onto circuit. We've got Matt, who's now on his outlap as well. So this is crunch time. This is the moment that they've all been waiting for. It's a circuit that if you mess up the first sector, that's you done for the rest of the lap effectively. You need to carry the speed through sector 1. You need to make sure you're not losing any time. We saw earlier from some of the other guys that if you can perhaps run over a curb, or if you hit the wrong exit, then it absolutely obliterates your chances of getting up towards the top 6, top 7 of this one. And well, it's a circuit that, although it's got that very long back straight, it doesn't really invite too much overtaking. So watch out for this straight to be really the overtaking position from majority of the guys on track tonight. And well, it's going to be the C5 that are going to be having to do the most work, I'd imagine.
And speaking of the C5, we have got Kieran, and he needs this to go really P1, I suppose. We saw Cam in his final qualifying session in JACKOCAR. He's just gone P9 on mediums, taking a risk. But Kieran, can he go P1? Yes, he can. And this is what we're expecting to see. He had a little bit of a celebration there, did you notice, as he sort of weaved after he crossed the line. And we're sort of going to be expecting this from everyone in the Championship 5. You can see Red Matt, he's gone for a bit of the neon green. I'm quite a fan of this, actually. Bit of a change of pace, but it's a very nice livery indeed. And we'll see how he gets on. He has been one of the best drivers in qualifying this season. He has 4 pole positions. Kieran yet to be on pole. And so you'd expect, although he's gone a little bit wide at 19, I've noticed, Redmar. That wasn't the ideal line. You would expect this to go quick, but with a line with that much understeer, perhaps not. He does just a bite. Just a bite gets there, but I tell you, he would have been struggling. Jamie, he's also got a new livery for the Championship 5 tonight, and he only has 1 pole this season, and he would love dearly to make it 2 tonight.
Yeah, 1 pole, but he also has 5 wins, and all 5 of which were absolutely crucial in how his season's unfolded. 1 in every single playoff round for the Season 2 champion. Can he become the first to do the double in JACKOCAR? He is already a 2-time teams champion with the likes of AI Racing, but nobody has ever gone on to win 2 drivers' championships in this league. This is a Williams-inspired livery for the good man Sir Frank Williams, who of course recently passed away. But Kieran and Red Matt have certainly put the pressure on early for the likes of Jamie, Arnold and Kyle. But what can Jamie deliver here on championship night in Kota? Up to the line he comes. It's only P2, but it's good enough.
That is
good enough for now.
Incredible. Look how close the Championship 5 are already. I mean, that is exactly what you wanted to see. Next up is Arnold. He is undoubtedly the king of qualifying this season. He has had 6 fastest laps in qualifying. He's absolutely nailed it. And even when he doesn't qualify well, he's won from the back of the grid twice this season, right from P20 to P1. So you'd expect him to be the favourite coming into this one tonight. And we'll see if he can back this up with a big time in this final qualifying of the season. The checkered
Good
flag
line.
is there now, and here we go. Arnold has put a
He
tenth and a
won.
half between himself and Redmat, and it's all going to be down to Kyle now, who's yet to be on pole this season, Gareth.
Can we see the Championship 5 locking out the top 5 positions in qualifying? We've not seen that so far this week. Of course, the C5 couldn't do it on Tuesday. Can they do it tonight? Now with that 31.5. What's it going to be from Carl as he comes around the final corner? Got to keep it in a straight line up to the line. It doesn't look like it's not. It's P6.
sick.
He drops in behind Jake there. In fact, what's that? 7/10 of a second. He's dropped behind R now. So not a great lap from Kyle. And Kyle, in fact, as I flick to my book of stats that I've created over the day, Kyle with the best average qualifying position out of the entire C5. His average qualifying position has actually been 5th over the entirety of the regular and playoff season. Very, very shortly behind him is Matt with 5.13. Arnau back in 7.2 of obviously those P20 starts knocked him down. Then comes Jamie on 8.93 and Kieran finally on 9.06. So they're all relatively evenly matched. But yeah, Kyle will be disappointed there, dropping down 6th position and a little bit of work to do if he's to catch up to Arnau, who's surely the favourite coming into this one.
7 pole positions now. What dominance.
He's had. That's 18 all time for Arnold, and the only advantage Kyle will have there is the fact that Jake in P5 is his teammate, so there won't be much of a threat. Jake will play the team game, so I think you will see, providing they'll get off to a good start, the Championship 5 run away with this, and Jake playing the rear gunner to Kyle. But all is yet to come, and all will unfold as we conclude qualifying for Season 4. That was a good one, that. I enjoyed that, boys.
Yeah, that was good fun, that. Watching the Championship 5 really giving it their all, and it was very close between Redmat, Jamie and Kieran, so their pace will be interesting in the race. But Arnold is on pole. It hasn't always been a best guaranteed victory, though. He has only got 3 wins this season, as I said, 2 of which came from P20. So pole, not exactly the most guaranteed spot for him to win from, but we'll see how he gets on. Redmat second, Jamie third, Kieran fourth, Jake splitting 2 of the Championship 5 runners with Kyle in 6th. Then the rest, we've got Jamie, Thomas, Pete, Vitinho, Deck, NK Born, Camo, Cam, OKK, Iceman, Risky, Ben, and Jess. Now, let's see what the weather's going to do.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time. And talking about the weather, as I go back to my stat sheet down here, we've had 22% of the laps this season in wet conditions. Doesn't look as though we're going to have that here today above the skies of Austin. It's a lovely blue sky. As everyone's ever been to Austin, you'd know that it's like that. Most of the time it is a beautiful city. But yeah, we've only had 26% of the races rain affected, so only really 1 in 4 chance, and it doesn't look as though one of the ones tonight will be wet. Of course, we never know. It could turn on a dime, as it usually does here on the F1 game, but well, coming into this one, it's shaping up perfectly, isn't it? Your Championship 5, all within the top 6. Of course, Jake, who will still be feeling the hurt out of just missing out, sitting there in P5 as well. Can he be a player in this early part of the race?
I absolutely believe that he can be, and like we alluded to in qualifying, it's the kind of race where everyone else, the Championship 5 guys, are going to focus on themselves and race against each other. Even if Jake doesn't play the team player role, he's going to shoot off into the distance and you're not going to see him until the checker flag. I think this could be his night to finally break the duck and get that first win. Before we get underway with the formation lap, boys, one word, can we call a winner?
Oh, do you know, this is more than one word. I'm going to back Jamie for a second championship.
Okay.
I've been thinking Kyle has been the one that I think has got a good chance tonight. He's got work to do now, but he was second here when we did USA Short in season 2. He's had the best qualifying result. He's decent at overtaking. We've seen him make some good moves so far this season. I think that Kyle might be thinking about a win come the end of this race.
Okay, both of you, that was definitely more than one word. So I'm going to follow in your footsteps. If we have ourselves a straightforward race, I think this is Arnaud's for the taking. On outright pace, he's been the fastest all season. That is undeniable. But if we get one of the crazy JACKOCAR races that we've become accustomed to, you've only got to look back at the last 2 weeks, it opens a door up for anybody. And at that point, it's who's made their pit stops, who's got the luck, who's got the best tyres, who can race the best against like under these high pressure circumstances. Red Matt, J. Luke, Kieran, and Kyle, they could bring it to Arnaud. But assuming it's going to be a normal race, I will back Arnaud for now.
I'll give him a reasons for saying Jamie, by the way. Basically, I'm only really saying it's because he knows how to win this championship. He's done it before. He's felt the pressure, and he's been able to exceed his expectations by winning the title. So he's always been in the right place at the right time. So while he's arguably not the fastest here, I think all the stats would show you that is Arnaud, Jamie's just always just there. Even last week, when he wasn't in a position to win, he was in a position to help his teammates to try and get into the Championship 5. He is always just putting himself in the right spot, and that's why he has 5 wins this season. That's why I fancy him for the win. But look, as you say, it could easily go any other way. But as you can see, we're nearly at the end of the formation lap, and we're getting ready for the Championship 5.
And I think just to back up Owen's point there about Jamie, Jamie's actually made up the most amount of positions from qualifying to the end of the race, with a net 21 gained over the entire season. Matt with minus 27. So look for Matt to possibly fall back. He's not had the greatest of runs. Yeah, lining up in P2, Arnaud P1. Well, we've got 5 of we've got the Champion 5 in the top 6 positions, and Owen, we'll let you take this one away.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it, how we've managed to get to the end of our 4th season already. It's been absolutely fantastic so far. And one more race to decide our next champion. Will it be Arnaud, Red Matt, Jamie, Kieran or Kyle? When these 5 red lights go out, we'll be able to get our first indications of who's going to be at the front. Such a massive turn 1. Anything can happen here. All 5 lights are on. Boogity, 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 let's go racing for one more time in Season 4. Looks like we've had a great start from Red Matt. He's going to have a real look on the inside. How much is Arnaud going to risk? They head through the first corner, and it is Red Matt who leads this thing. And look at the contact. We go down the hill. And look at that for Jamie as well. That's a risky move. Is he going to go for that? No. Decides not to take big risks at the start. There's a few cars off the road, and that could be a big accident.
Coutinho.
And I'll tell you what, I'll be surprised if we don't get a safety car. And we will get one, I'm sure, because Cam is also involved. Amazed that no damage has been done there, though. Only Camo Babo out of this race. But it is Red Matt from Arnaud, Jamie, Kieran and Kyle. And it's another one into the wall. That is Deck as well, who started on the hard compound tyres. Isn't going to be able to make anything work there. But he might be able to get a pit stop because we are now under virtual safety car.
Yeah, and what does this do? What do the leaders want to do? Do they want to change their strategy and think it's going to be a normal race, come in early, maybe put the hard tyres on? I'm sure Gareth has some stats somewhere on what the best tyre is around here. Personally, if it was me, I'd stay out. It's only a VSC and it's only lap 1. Let's let this race play out a bit more, but a little bit of drama there. Vitinho, I don't know if it was a lag or an actual crash. He went right across the Maggots and Beckett's style corners, I forget what they're called here, and took out the home race driver of Cam in his final race, but they're both still running at the back for now.
Yeah, I think as you say there, Jacko, it's staying out for now. Don't box, don't give up any track position where you don't need to.
Oh, look at this.
They're coming in,
They're all in. And look at that. Jamie, I don't know if you saw that. Jamie overtook Arnaud on the way in the pits. How fantastic was that? Arnaud was undecided on whether he was going to pit. Jamie committed immediately and he caught Arnaud out. Now, how are we all going to get through? Because I'll tell you, Jake's also coming through the pits and that might have held people up. We're back under green flag. Kieran's already got a penalty. I hope that isn't a drive-through, but we'll see what happens. We have Red Matt from Jamie and then Arnaud. That's the top 3. Cam is out of his final race in JACKOCAR. What a shame for him. But you can see that Arnaud's already dropped behind 2 cars. Jake's also ahead of Kyle. Did Kyle have to stack in the pits? Because he's certainly fallen away off the pace. And unfortunately, it is a drive-through. Kieran's Championship 5 has already started to go wrong, but there's such a long way to go. Safety cars could bring him right back into it, but that is absolutely not ideal.
Yeah, rule number 1 is don't speed under VSC. because it's so easy in this game to pick the penalties up, and that's what's happened to Kieran. So he's now going to be hoping for a crazy race, whereas the other four, I mean, Carl's a
There's a
little bit
crash
further
here.
behind.
Yeah, sorry, just to jump in
go
there.
on.
Deck has just had a huge moment at the exit of turn 2, straight into the wall. We've got another VSC out. Surely that might be upgraded.
Look at
There's
Vitinho.
everywhere.
Vitinho spun.
Yeah, Vitinho's all over the
who's
place.
had a chaotic start to this one. As Jack said, a big crash on lap 1, and equally, well, lap 2 hasn't gone much better for Brazilian. He's going to go around again as the VSC still out, so he will not lose as much time, but not the way to start this final race of the season for the Brazilian.
No, this is going to get...
guys. Sorry, Owen, I was just going to say, Camo Babo confirming that the game started him in spectator mode, would you believe? Unbelievable.
All I'm going to say here is that Kieran, despite the drive-through penalty, should be able to come out here in the effective lead of the Championship 5. So that gives him some chance, because he has potentially got this whole VSC in the pit lane. And we'll see on board the red mat, there is Kieran.
Yeah.
And he now leads these Championship 5 runners. Thomas leads the race itself, and we go green again. Jamie's just dropped behind, well, Jamie, and that means those championship contenders don't get into trouble. But Arnold's now fallen behind 3 of his rivals tonight, so he really needs a big job.
Just to jump in quickly, Kieran has just picked up another
one.
What?
This is unfortunately, this is something I've unfortunately suffered with in Azerbaijan. A double drive-through. You get, I imagine he was sent out of the pit lane, and as soon as you get sent out of the pit lane, of course, it sets you up at a certain speed.
VSD, yeah.
You're ahead of the delta.
I only see 1 for Kieran. Looking for the incident log. I think he's only got 1. There might have been someone else. So KK got 1 and Jamie got 1, but I didn't see another one for Kieran. I hope for his sake he hasn't got a second one. Perhaps it'll update in a minute. We'll see what he does anyway, as Vitinho now retires in the pit lane.
Probably the right decision. His car was all over the place. It promotes Jess.
Jake's off, and he was trying to fight with Arnold, and he's got it wrong. So that doesn't help him in the slightest, but it does mean that Kyle can now see Arnold as the car in front of him. And let's see. Jamie's right on the back of red mat, by the way. DRS is enabled, and so he will be able to get a run up towards turn 1. And you can see Kieran into the pit lane. We'll see if that drive-through message disappears. If it does, that means he only had 1 of his stays. It means he will have 2 to take. But this is Jamie's opportunity as he heads up towards turn 1. He's using the overtake. He's using the DRS as well. A massively wide turn 1. And round the outside goes the Season 2 champion. And you can see Redmar cutting across. But it's not going to help him as here comes Jamie round the outside. Does he decide to go for it, or will he back off? This is side by side through the S's, potentially for the championship already, and Jamie's got himself in front. Now Arnold can try and catch up on this, because they're still fighting away. But Jamie, the Season 2 champion, has now put himself in the box seat in Season 4. And you can see that Kieran does not have a second drive-through penalty. Thank goodness for that. It means if we get a safety car, he's right back into the running. But as you can see, these top 3 in the championship now, they're fighting over 5th place on track as Pete fights Thomas for the race lead. It's sort of a secondary fight, this one, but still worth looking at regardless. But we'll quickly cut back, because these 3 are all going to be going for it, and it'll all help Kyle, who's 5 seconds back of the minute, to catch up. And here comes Red Matt again, down the inside. Can he retake the Championship 5 position? He does for the minute, but look at Jamie. He's trying to get himself right around the outside again. And this is superb fighting as Red Matt retakes the place and defends hard to the inside. Did he go too deep on the brakes? Jamie's going to get a superb exit, and he might have a run around the outside of triple right-hander. A very risky move to make, and I think Red Matt's covered it off. But Arnold's absolutely in position now. This is about to get very exciting.
And all this battling is bringing Kyle closer to it ever so slowly. Great fighting by Pete and Thomas, by the way. That was good to see for those 2. But yeah, Jamie looks like he wants this, and it's been all week. Jamie and Red Matt have been complaining about being pad users out of 5. You know, this is a wheel track, but both of them, they're very much in contention here, aren't they? As Arnold starts to breathe down the gearbox of Jamie Wright. No heroics this time through this section of the track. But what a race they're putting on here. He's front 3.
And look at Kieran fighting right on the outside and getting through on Jake. He's now into 7.8 seconds of clear air. Let's see if he can make it work, because there's a lot of pressure he's going to be having to deal with. There's a train of 4 cars now that he's leading. and he's going to have to keep his head here because he's not a million miles away from those championship contenders still. Like I say, a safety car, he's right back into it. Now, weaving once again, it's almost like watching the Indy 500, this, isn't it? With the lines that these guys are taking down the back straight. But it is all just to break the toe. Who's been managing their ERS the best in the early stages? It must be said Arnaud has the most out of these three that are close to each other, and so that could play a part later on in the race.
Oh no, not getting caught up in the fight in front of him. He's just letting Red Matt and Jay do their thing, just weaving down the back straight on, just plowing on, keeping a straight line, keeping his foot to the floor as Jay picks up 3 seconds down the road. But Arnold just quite comfortable at the moment, just sitting there in the DRS. He doesn't need to push too hard. He can just let these guys have a foot of themselves and look after his tyres. Because of course another stop left to make as Risky picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 13th position on a set of softs, but into the box now comes Thomas. He's dropping down. He'll be probably around 8th or 9th position when he comes out.
Isn't it such a shame that Kieran had to get that drive through? Otherwise, this would be a 4-way fight at the moment. And Kyle, is he just starting to make inroads, or is he going to be harassed and hounded by Thomas on those fresh mediums as he's just come out the pits? It's not looking good for him early doors here, but of course a long way to go. 23 laps, in fact. Just a reminder to all viewers, we've got a lot of you. 27 at the moment. Thank you very much. No stages today and no jokers because it is the final race of the season. The championship is decided tonight. Owen Wyatt.
So, are we going to see more weaving on this back straight, or are the guys just going to calm it down for a bit and think about their ERS, because it is a long race and these guys can't afford to have any sort of incidents, as well as Thomas is going past Kyle and he fancies making something work as well, and Kyle not in a position to fight back, and this is it's not working out for Kyle today. I mean, only a 3-lap difference in the tyres, but Thomas made that look easy.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Carl, I didn't quite see when they all came into the box on lap 1, if he was having to stack, because he lost a heap of time, and obviously he's now 5 seconds behind Jamie in 5th position. Thomas has gone past and are now obviously up the road as well, but Carl not looking as though he's enjoying these mediums in the early part of this stint. Still plenty of racing left to go. 7 laps done. 28. We've got a yellow in sector 3 as Jake picks up 3 seconds as well, and we'll see if that yellow clears itself. It looks as though they've managed to get going, but well, maybe not the race to remember for Carl so far, but as we know from Tuesday's C5 race, anything can happen. It can go down to the final lap.
Yeah, once again, a congratulations to Nils on winning that title on Tuesday. He was down and out, wasn't he? Absolutely out of it. Then the rain come. He pitted 2 or 3 laps too early, and then the safety car helped him out. A drive-through penalty for Quinn and damage, and all of a sudden Nils is staring at a 25-second lead, and he just drove away from the rest of the field, and that's how he got his title. So well done to him, Kia Series champion. But the attention is very much on the Cup Series tonight. It is Red Matt leading the way from Jamie and Arnaud. Arnaud actually looking a bit closer to Jamie once again, and Kyle, I think, is just being pulled along by Thomas, and Kieran just stuck in that 7-second window, and he just can't get out of it at the moment.
It's all very much waiting for something to happen, isn't it? They're all sort of being a bit tentative. We've had a couple of yellow flags, which might be sort of scares, but obviously most of these guys are now doing what would be classed as really a regular race now. The 2-stop elements kind of been taken out of this one tonight by those early VSCs, but a full safety car could really throw a spanner in the works, and that's what these guys are looking for. And you can see they're still Indy 500ing it on the way up towards turn 1. Arnaud's not getting involved with that, though. He's just sitting there patiently waiting for his chance. He's not going to rush this, as Kyle gets himself back alongside and makes contact. Now, that was side pod contact for Kyle. He does get through, but I hope for his sake that hasn't caused any minor side pod damage, because we've seen how that can affect people. It's why Arnaud ended up in the wall at the end of the race last week.
Yeah, just touching back on your previous point there, Owen, with Arnaud, this is what I was saying in qualifying earlier. You know, if it's a normal-ish race, it will favour him, because you like to think this Indy 500ing what you refer to as, at some point Arnaud's just going to pull the plug and absolutely go for it, isn't he? At the end of the race, you would think. It's looking good for him right now, but fair play to Red Matt and Jamie holding their own as they go down into turn 12 and into the stadium section, similar to Hockenheim, as Gareth referred to in the video earlier. Big fan of that video.
Oh, look at this. We've got, sorry to interrupt, we've got Thomas and Kyle, and they're hitting it again. They've hit twice in 2 corners, and Thomas is really giving it some here. And we've got a car in the wall, I think, but look at Thomas again, trying to get himself past, and he spins, having made contact. And he resets the track. I mean, yeah, we know that's not legal.
30-second penalty.
Yes. Well, there goes his race, unfortunately. But Kyle, luckily for him at least, he's still there. Now, Pete into the pits. He will obviously jump Thomas now, but that's who he was fighting with on track. So, will he come out near Kyle? Let's see. As he heads to turn 1, he'll be ahead of Kyle. So that's just when Kyle thinks he's got rid of the fight, and there's another one. Now, look at Red Matt, Jamie and Arnaud. They are catching Iceman, who's on old, wearing softs. That could cause some drama, couldn't it?
It's going to get interesting, as you say, catching up to a driver that's now going to give almost all of them a lovely bit of slipstream down that back straight. So that's going to work very nicely for Matt to defend against Jamie and Arnaud. And Arnaud looks as though he is starting to turn the screw up. He's moved himself up to within a couple of tenths of a second of Jamie now as they go 4 down the back straight, and unfortunately Iceman looks as though he might become a little bit of a cork in the bottle here, because Matt's going to go there we go, down the inside, and is it going to be a late move from Jamie, who's going to want to follow him? They go side by side. Is there contact? There is a little bit. He's going to run out Iceman onto the exit, and in fact there's going to tag surely into the next corner. Not quite. It looks as though Jamie's just about got away with that, but Iceman not willing to give up the position here, still fighting. Of course, he's running his own race. These guys know it's not all about winning the race tonight, it's just about beating everyone else inside the C5. So at the moment, Red Map, he is in the perfect position. Of course, MK Bourne still up ahead. We've got a yellow in sector 2. Looks like that's risky, really not enjoying those hards in that first sector. He's gone around again for the second time in 2 laps, and now Arnaud down the inside, and he passes Iceman. So Iceman down now into 5th position.
Yeah, but look at Iceman. He's Indy 500 in himself back into play, but doesn't make anything happen. I was watching Kieran, and Kieran's now into the pits, having had a fight with Jake. Let's see what this is for. Is it just a strategy call? There's a front wing. There's a front wing. And Kieran, he's had the drive-through penalty. He had some good positioning, just due to the fact that if a safety car came out, he'd be back into it. Now, yes, he's had to change the front wing, but that safety car threat, as you see risky in Narnia, if it comes out now, if he ends up in the wall risky, then this could end up being a very important stop for Kieran. But as it stands for now, it's a disadvantage, obviously.
Yeah, risky finding himself where Kurt Busch did earlier this year at Kota.
Look at the gap. This is Arnaud's opportunity now. He's got to make this work on Jamie. He couldn't make this move in Season 2 for the title, and he's switching to the inside line. Oh. What a dummy from Arnaud. But look at that. Back down the inside. Jamie fancies it as well, and they're going side by side. Red Matt has got to scamper down the road now because Jamie and Arnaud are fighting like it's for the championship, but they're not realising the man they need to beat is pulling away.
What a fight between these two. They are not giving up. They know that their championship is pretty much between the three of them. It's Red Matt, it's Jamie, and it's Arnaud. They're all fighting at the front of this one. They're catching up to MK Bourne, so will MK Bourne stop before they catch him, and will become a factor in this battle? But what a send from Jamie back down the inside of Arnaud. Did not want anything to do with him. You can see him trying to break the toe. Arnaud's just going to keep flat to the floor up towards turn 1. Jamie, in fact, probably loses a little bit of time, but you can see harvesting energy into turn 1. He will have nothing to deploy down that back straight. Is he going to be a sitting duck for Arnaud, who looks as though he's got around about 30-35% of battery? Jamie, you can see harvesting in sector 1. This is going to be hurting him as MK Bourne picks up 3 seconds. Jamie goes wide on exit. He's pushing hard, and Arnaud has to get out the throttle to miss him. And this is working perfectly if you're Red Matt.
Yeah, Red Man's loving this right now. We've got another yellow flag though. Iceman, is it? Or is it someone else actually? It might actually be Thomas again, who's come round at turn 1. They're all sort of causing the others, but no accidents as of yet that could cause safety cars. Now, Arnoud's seen how hard Jamie's going to fight, but Jamie, as you said, Gav, hasn't got much ERS left, so I'm struggling to see where the fight's going to come from this time, as you see Red Matt passing and getting himself ahead of the lapped car of Risky. And now Arnoud is going to have to set down the road. If I was Jamie, I would just save the ERS now. Don't fight back and just follow. Because eventually Arnoud's going to get to Red Matt. And it's going to bring... Well, saying that, actually, I mean, speed teammates. Perhaps we'll see Risky hold these guys up a bit. It wouldn't be the first time, would it, that Arnoud's had his race ruined by a lapped car.
No, Owen, you're taking all the words out of my mouth. You know that the Speed Boys, they like to work together, so he... Notice how him and Iceman just let Red Matt go. But what is also interesting, I'm glad you mentioned it just now, Gareth. MK Bourne is just up the road. He's a teammate of Jamie's, and he'll be well aware of what's going on. He's a man of not very many words. He doesn't use the mic on PlayStation, but he is very much in the party as Arnold almost goes into the back of Risky. Will MK Bourne play a factor in deciding the order come the end of lap 13 or 14 when they catch up to him? They're only 2 seconds behind as we speak, but yeah, Risky will do absolutely everything he can to help out his teammate Red Matt in this phase of the Grand Prix.
What a job he's doing.
Risky's going to be hating this because he's going to have to push. There you go. He does pull to the side and lets Arnold go eventually. But look at the gap he's given his teammate. You can see Red Matt now 2.3. That will become 2.4 as they exit. Arnold will be spitting feathers inside that cockpit. He
but look at this.
Follow Risky all the way through.
Risky's going for the move, I think, because he's put his ERS on. He's put his DRS. Has he done this on purpose? Look, he's coming back at Jamie here. He's going to fight him. Wow, that is interesting, isn't it? Oh, he just doesn't get close enough. But he thought about it.
Yeah, we saw him do this last week with Kieran when they were trying to get not last week, in Canada, sorry, when they tried to get Iceman through to the chase, and he just fought with Kieran the whole time. Of course, it was to no avail in the end, but great defending from Risky for so long, and he's doing it again here at Kota as they come into Sector 3 for a lap 12. Red Matt's lead extends ever so slightly, and Risky is staying with these guys.
Could this be an opportunity now for Jamie to, I wonder, have a go up into turn 1? Because Arnoud obviously isn't going to get any DRS. It's nearly 3 seconds now between these guys and Red Matt. But no, Jamie is just going to sit there and save ERS. He's now got the advantage over Arnoud. But Red Matt has got the advantage in track position. And he's looking pretty good as it stands. Of course, MK Bourne could have something to say about that. And once again, MK Bourne leading laps this season. This is why I'm saying you've got to keep an eye on him. He's, he's always there now, isn't he? But and he will end up with some very nice tyres later on. Of course, still has to make 2 stops though. But Red Matt, he's not going to be worried about the amount of stops MK Bourne's made, because I'm sure he probably knows what's about to happen when he catches. But at the minute, we're heading towards the halfway stage. He had to fight for it as well with Jamie very hard, and he's certainly earned his spot as it stands as the provisional champion. But let's see if he can keep it going. We saw it even in the F1 last week. It is genuinely not over until the last lap.
By the way, Kieran's making a move in Sector 1, and he's just had contact with Ben Spurs.
Look at Jamie. I'm sorry to interrupt, but he nearly went for it on Arnold. There was a bit of locking up going on as well, but there wasn't quite a move being made. Jamie feels undecided, I wonder, about making a move, because I think they're both seeing the gap going, and Arnold keeps locking up. He's really struggling. But what was happening with Kieran?
I saw Kieran in Sector 1. He went sideways, went for a move on Ben and just went wide, and Ben's actually going to come back at him here down the straight. To the outside goes Ben, and he's made the move done, ruining Kieran's day, who's going to try and come round the outside once again.
Oh!
He's fun! Luckily, the second bit of contact kept him almost in a straight line. I don't know if there was any damage. I didn't see anything fly off.
Here comes Jamie.
Not going very well for Kieran.
Down the inside he's going. Sorry to interrupt, but this is for second place in the race after MK Bourne pits. So it's a massive fight, this. And look at them side by side to the S. It's not the first time I've seen this today, but this time it is still Jamie who makes it work. But it's 3.2 seconds now to Red Matt, who's running away with this. But can he get it by MK Bourne? You can see MK Bourne's already slowing himself up. Is he going to make this an easy move? He's moving to the left-hand side. And Red Matt is going right round his outside, and you can see what MK Bourne's plan is. He's now doing the blocking job. If I were him, I would have actually moved over and let him go to get DRS, but he didn't think to do that. So he's going to have to fight it, and look at Red Matt. He's forcing himself to the inside line, and that is surely going to have him through. But let's see, MK Bourne, he's going for the cutback. He might be able to make it work as well. Look at him, he's going back for the inside line, and we're seeing all the teammates in the Challenger 5 really making life difficult for the main contenders, and they're still going side by side. They're absolutely allowed to fight. This isn't even a lap car, this is just for the race lead. And you can see Red Matt now has got through, but a second has been saved. And look at the ERS difference. MK Bourne, his tyres aren't even that much older, so he should be able to fight this one back into turn 1.
Oh, he's gone wide there. What a shame. I thought he was going to come in at the end, but like you say, Owen, he's going to have DRS, so he might try and stick at this and try and get back past Red Matt into turn 1 as I struggle to get my words out.
Jimmy and Arnold
collects a penalty.
Jimmy and Arnold are both pitted together. So that's an interesting tactic, because I assume if MK Bourne could do anything to fight back against Red Matt, these guys will have already made their starts and won't have to worry about it. But as they head out, where are they going to be on track? I think they should be in some clean air, because Iceman isn't going to affect them. So it will just be Jamie and Arnold on their own. This is to the end of the race, assuming we don't get any safety cars that could cause a late difference. And MK Bourne, he may be getting the penalties, but Red Matt is as well. 3 seconds. And I tell you what, MK Bourne is still in a nice spot if he wants to try and make this move again. Let's see. Is he going to go for it? You can see the ERS is being used. You can see Red Matt with the Indy 500 in once again. Let's see if MK Bourne is going to have a good enough run to make this thing work. And you can see Arnold and J-Luke, they might end up fighting as well. But look at that massive dive bomb! Nearly contact. And Red Matt so close to being wiped off the road. But it didn't quite happen. We'll have a look now at Arnold and Jamie. I think Jamie's got the gap, so there shouldn't be any fighting with those two. But now, they won't have seen Red Matt's penalty, and they're going to get a very nice surprise when he comes back out of the pit lane. He will surely be having to cover these two off. And we will see how this all pans out now as we get into the second half of this race.
Red Matt works perfectly. This works perfectly if you're Jamie and Arno at the moment. They need to get out of that battle.
Major moment in this championship.
The finisher is already sitting on 3 seconds, and now an extra 5. That could be the end of Red Matt's Championship 5 hopes. Does that mean there is now Jamie versus Arnout for the championship? They're battling out in 5th position, and well, they've got themselves some fresh air. Risky was really causing a nuisance there. It's not even just the fact that he was fighting them, it's just being in your peripheral vision. As you can see, Jamie's going to come up some lap traffic. That's MK Bourne that's going to get in the way on the apex. And does he fight him as much as he did with Redback? He doesn't have the grip on the
exit. He's going to hold up Arnout here, Gareth, sorry. He's going to hold him up.
This is going to be, obviously, a fight for position against a car who's on fresh softs. So this is not going to be easy for these two to deal with. But Red Matt does now need 8 seconds, and that is near enough impossible, isn't it? But look at MK Bourne. Look at the amount of blocking that's happening here. Surely Arnold's going to fight, but the grip out of the corners is going to be better for MK Bourne. So I'm not too sure how Arnold's going to be able to do this. And it is all falling into place then for Jamie to have a go at this championship today. But again, I'll say it, one safety car incident blows this whole thing wide open again. I think Red Matt will be hoping for one at this point, so we can have a chance to pit perhaps for some new softs. Get rid of that 5-second penalty, because right now, this isn't going to work for him, and he needs something to happen. And Arnold nearly loses the car. He's sitting here with a reminiscent situation. This is almost exactly the same as Season 2, where the leading car has a penalty, and Jamie and Arnold are fighting between each other for the title. And as it stands, we're having a complete redo of Season 2, but I'm telling you, Arnold will not let a championship go when he's been this quick all season. He will not let Jamie get down the road and win this thing, I'm sure of it. But he's got to make the move now. This is it. No DRS for MK Bourne. What's the defence going to be like? It's a harsh defence. He tried to sort of psych Arnold out, and he's going to go for the exit. That'll be straight back past. And Arnold, will he risk this? He's not going to be able to, because MK Bourne's just gone clean past him again. And now Jamie is over a second and a half clear.
It's a fantastic bit of defending there from MK Bourne. Yeah, I totally forgot what I was going to say, so I'm going to hand over to Gareth straight away so it doesn't get embarrassing.
Well, if you're Arno, you are incandescent with rage at MK Bourne. He's not in this championship fight, and he is costing you 10th after 10th after 10th as they go on to the back straight. And as you say, Owen, he's just going to get a better launch, and he's caught, of course, with that pit stop, he would have banked up a lot of ERS, and he can deploy that down this back straight to defend. He is, of course, still fighting for position. He's in 4th position, yet he's only made one stop along with Pete, who's leading this race. Arno with DRS but not able to close in on MK Bourne, so Arno now sitting 2 seconds behind Jamie, who's broken away, and he's now 3 seconds behind Redmat. Of course, Redmat's sitting on a couple of time penalties, so it is looking as though at the moment it's Jamie that is in the box seat for this one. Arno still sitting in what is the provisional 2nd position. Then we've got Redmat. Kyle is really not having a great race, 7th position, 24 seconds off the race lead, and of course Kieran way down the order, 3 stops already, 55 seconds off the lead. He's down there with the likes of Risky, who is seemingly taking the Fernando Alonso Abu Dhabi route of crossing every single white line to try and get the track speed, but not quite working as Arno. You can see losing time to MK Bourne. Those soft tyres at the moment are going to really hurt him, and it's not even just the soft tyres, it's that dirty air washing its way through Sector 1 is going to be hurting those medium tyres.
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say now. It's come back to me, Owen, reminding us of Season 2, where it was Arnold and Jamie fighting up against Kyle with his penalty. And of course, Jamie, this is only his 2nd Championship 5 appearance. He's got a 100% hit rate in these races. This is Arnold, and Kyle's, but mainly Arnold. It's his 3rd attempt at this. He's going to be absolutely fuming of MK Bourne's, what is nothing other than quite spectacular defending. He's absolutely working for his teammate. He's doing a fantastic job there on softs. And 100% he meant to do that. And it's worked out absolutely perfectly for the ART boys, who also, by the way, are on the verge of clinching the team's championship.
Isn't this interesting? MK Bourne not using the DRS, he could easily go past J. Luke if he's in DRS next time he comes around. Will he go for that? Redmat has now made 3 out of the 8 seconds that he needs to make. So he needs these 3, all with each other, fighting hard. And we've got the race
really
leader.
Shaping up. Yeah,
race leader in the
Pete
pits.
pits in. So that's going to promote Redmat up into the lead. Jamie now into 2nd position. MK Bourne, as you say, not really going on the offensive. And what Jamie needs to do now is, there's a yellow.
KK! No, listen, this could be a safety car. This could be a safety car because that front wing is on the track. And we have seen it before, but not on this occasion. So, no safety car for this. And I tell you what, there'll be a few people there that would have been absolutely expecting one, but it didn't happen. And Redman might, well, be able to keep making the gap as well. So maybe a safety car, he doesn't need one, because now Jamie is almost backing up MK Bourne, which is really odd. It just seems his pace is falling away. We've nearly got half of the gap that's needed, so this will be a very tense one as it stands. And you've also got Kieran and Ben fighting so hard. I'd hazard a guess and say that perhaps Kieran might well be just fighting for the sort of the pride at this point, because I'm not sure the championship's still within range anymore. Too much stuff has to happen now for him to win, but this is the first part of that. Here comes MK Bourne passing Jamie, and you know, they can't just sit there and let this one happen. So I'm obviously MK Bourne, he also can't sit there forever. Mind you, I suppose he can break the rules if he wants now. What's the, you know, he can break the 2-stop strategy. It would just give him a penalty after the race. So I suppose he could sit here for the rest of the race and help his sort of teammates out, but I doubt that'll happen.
He could, but he would, of course, land himself with a disqualification from the race. But of course, he would have done his job by then if it works out for Jamie. I'm just looking down at Kyle, who's had Pete come out in front of him. Pete having a good race, but yeah, Kyle's day is just lonely and miserable down there in P6, right where he started. And Kieran, as we mentioned, he did get put back past Ben at the start of this lap, but those two seem to be out of it. Yellow flags.
Don't really know what that was
cleared
for.
away.
I think that might have been okay, just letting the leaders through, not wanting to get involved.
Notice how the gap, though, to Redmat is closing with MK Bourne now back in front.
Well, he is the quicker
and he's
guy,
taking
isn't
Jamie
he?
with him.
Yeah, I suppose on the tyres, actually, I suppose this would make sense, but they'll have to drop off eventually. And that's the problem that these guys are going to have. OKK, what's his position on all this? Is he going to fancy getting involved too? Of course, you've given some guidelines to the drivers. Don't ruin the championship contenders races, but you can certainly get involved.
Absolutely. Everybody has every right to fight for whatever position they're in. And of course, you can fight for your teammates as well. So if OKK wants to get involved and send one up the inside of Arnold, providing it's safe and with respect, then he can absolutely do that. OKK, I know him in real life, though. He's too much of a good man to maybe do anything of the kind. But he is very much on the back of this train and is, I dare say, the second fastest out of the lot of them. MK Bourne leading the way, and the gap, he's found 2/10 on this lap.
Just sitting on board with Jamie just over that second and third sector. The car's not looking great. It's twitching a lot under corners, a lot under acceleration as well. He's fighting the wheel almost every single There you go. Big moment, just as I was saying. I think Jamie might be just getting a little bit too much heat into these tyres, and that's going to open the door. He's got no battery left. Arnow will be smelling blood like a great white shark sitting directly behind Jamie, because this is the fight for the championship. Lap 21 of 28. We're well into the second, or the last third. There we go. There's maths in there somewhere, and there we go across the line. That is going to have been a warning for Jamie. He took a very wide line through the apex of the turn 5 and turn 6, and Arnout well within him. And well, this is where a safety car would spice it up. This would be the only race so far this season we've not seen a safety car if we get all the way through it. We had 424 official laps throughout the entire season, and exactly 25% of them were behind a safety car. But here comes Arnow surely with the run, but with MK Bourne.
Oh my goodness.
Jamie,
look at this.
3-4 down in towards the end of the DRS zone.
This is massive for the championship. Look at Arnold! Contact and a broken front wing! And Jamie's gone off the road as well. And Arnold got it wrong. And that's going to potentially cost him the championship. And it means that Jamie as well, getting past MK Bourne, he's got to just make sure he doesn't lose 3 more seconds to Redmat. It's all falling into place for the potential 2-time champion, but he's got to make sure the pace stays good, because at the minute, Redmat, he's going to have 7 laps to get this gap up by just 3 more seconds, and we're going to be in a very, very interesting position by the end of this race. Arnold, though, he's into the pits. He needs a safety car now.
And right now would be the absolute perfect time for it. Bit of wing damage come off the front of him there. Jamie, that gap is getting bigger though, isn't it, to Redmat? I know it's an 8-second penalty, but it's not going down, it's going up. And I don't think this championship is over as we look at under 7 laps to go. I wonder if Jamie's going to have to get MK Bourne involved here.
MK Bourne.
If I'm Arnow, I would not be happy at all with MK Bourne. I think that was a very, very late defensive move from MK Bourne into the braking zone. Arnow had already committed to the inside, and MK Bourne coming across and putting the brakers on. Has that cost the Belgian a chance for the championship?
I've got to interrupt, because look at what we're going to have in a minute now. We've got Pete involved too, as we see MK Bourne on the better tyres making the move again. But Pete is on even better tyres than MK Bourne. So if he can get by OKK, which he's doing now, he might be able to get involved, but he couldn't quite get by. This is making it difficult for Jamie. It's making it really difficult for Jamie. Oh, but he needs MK Bourne back in the pit lane soon. But that's no guarantee he's going to do that. He might just ignore the rules. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen someone do that. And Jamie, MK Bourne pits. So
he heard you. Look at Pete down the inside of OKK, trying to lap him.
Yeah, so,
and he's not done it.
Yeah, OKK's fighting Pete like he's a championship contender, but yeah, it's a weird one that. But down the inside anyway, he's nearly hitting it. Oh, he has hit OKK, and surely he's not going to let him back on the road, but he does actually. But the gap, this isn't happening. This is not happening for Jamie at the minute. With every lap, this is swinging more and more in Redmat's favour. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen here, because it looks good for now. But with 6 laps to go, can Jamie do anything about this? Just to remind you, it is 8 seconds of penalties. That is the situation. That's what Redmat has at the moment. to Jamie, and if Pete can get by OKK, I tell you, he will make Jamie's life a living nightmare. If OKK gets past, that'll be doubly so. Let's see, will OKK go for the move? No, look at Pete diving down the inside and nearly making contact with OKK. He can't get past the man in the purple machine. There's just no way through him at the minute. But Jamie is still losing time. I don't think even if Jamie was in free air, he would have the pace at the minute. I do honestly think this is potentially going to be it. If Red Matt gets another penalty, of course, that would open it back up. As it stands, I think Red Matt's going to be able to do it. Look at that down the inside. Pete, now he's through. He will definitely be through now. He has to be. And that's going to put Jamie under so much more pressure. Like you wouldn't believe.
OKK still there, Owen. OKK still there.
And you can see...
Can he make a move into turn 1? Not this time. He's going to try and go for the undercut and try and come back around on the exit, but it's not enough. Pete, I think he's got the move done, and the gap is not 1.8, it's 0.8 of a second now between Jamie and Red Matt for the race win.
Guys, I'd just like to put attention to Risky, who is cruising around the first sector. I'm sure he's waiting
Jamie,
to pick up Red Matt.
Penalty for Jamie. That is big. With 5 to go. Who's that off the road? Is that going to be? Is that Kieran? Oh, he's in the wall.
Is that what's a wheel disconnection?
Yeah, what's he doing here? Because this, he's in the wall again. Is he trying to bring out a safety car? Is he trying to bring out a safety car? He's brought a safety car out.
There's a safety car.
How incredible is that?
And look who hasn't got a penalty, and look who sat in P4. It's Kyle.
I'm telling you that he's done that on purpose.
Oh my.
Kieran has manipulated the game to bring a safety car out, and look who gets a free stop in the safety car because he has no front wing. That is someone who has studied the rules of this league and has given himself one last chance to win this championship. Who is going to end up winning this thing? We have got a Nicholas Latifi style last minute accident, and I'm pretty sure Kieran has got no penalties as well. So he's put himself in a position where he's got nothing to lose. He's not even going to get lapped either. He comes back out in 12th. As you say, Jacko, Kyle is certainly the man who's going to be looking to take advantage of all this. Oh my goodness. This is suddenly going to become an incredibly close finish because Red Matt, it pains me to say it, but this could be his championship run. Jamie, likewise, because of his penalty, and Kyle, he could just win this thing by keeping it clean because they're not going to get many laps of racing. The thing that might cost Kieran is that he's chosen maybe a lap too late to go for this. He may not have a chance to catch up to the safety car, particularly on time. Might go in with 3 laps to go, or even 2 laps to go. But I doubt this thing's going to be out for very long. It's not going to do the full distance that it would normally do. And I tell you, Arnold as well. Arnold, of course, as well. I forget he exists.
Oh, yeah.
He has the best tyres. And if he can get by... Well, actually, no, MK Bourne does. But he can also get involved. A lot of people can get involved in a lot of different ways here.
Throwback to, I don't know, the start of the stream when I said it's the kind of night where anybody can win this race. But it's the kind of night where anyone can win this championship still. I mean... There could be absolute carnage behind Red Matt and he could streak clear by 10 seconds and it's back on for him. Because it was certainly looking that way before the safety car come out.
Before tonight, we'd had 106 laps under the safety car. Exactly 25% of the season had been under the safety car, and well, we weren't expecting it. Kieran, whether or not it's through underhanded tactics, it's worked out quite nicely because it's worked out perfectly. If you're ART Kyle, whose eyes would have lit up at the sound and the sight of that safety car rolling out on circuit, he's kept it clean. He's done exactly what he needed to, but well. Much like we've seen from the FIA in the last few weeks, will it all go down to the steward's office? Because, just think about this, we've got a possible 3-lap sprint to the end. Everyone would have saved up battery, they'll all have a full deployment. We're going to have Jamie, we're going to have Kyle, we're going to have Arnout, we're going to have Red Matt, and then we've got the likes of, well... I'm not going to say it, but Pete is in a prime position there. He's got nice tyres on. He's sitting in between Kyle. He's sitting just behind Jamie. He's going to want to protect his teammate who's leading this one Do we see Pete throw it up into T1 and cause a bit of a fuss? Well, this one is going to go right down to the wire.
There's also something else you got to point out. Look at the lap cars. All the lap cars. Pete is directly behind Jimmy, but Jimmy's got 2 lap cars in front of him. That is a massive amount of protection because one of those is a speed driver in Risky. So there's 2 speed drivers sandwiching Jamie. And then Kyle is just behind OKK, who's also been very feisty. So there's a lot that could happen. MK boards off. That's 1 car out of the way for Arnaud, who also has Iceman in front of him, who's also a speed driver. We've got every possible chance for Red Matt to do this if his teammates help. And as we saw in Monaco, the teammates are happy to get involved.
And just to reiterate the rules before we get too excited by it, the gap between Red Matt and J-Luke, so that's Ben and Risky in between them, that's what I mean by the gap. All lapped cars are obliged to get out the way on the restart, but after they have crossed the timing line, so that'll be on the main straight. They have to get out the way. The reason they have to do it after the timing line is if they do it before, it gives the car behind a penalty.
This is going to be very interesting indeed, because Kieran is going to join the back of this train. The safety car surely is coming in this lap. It can't stay another lap, I don't think anyway. But Kieran will literally have to pass every last car on track to make this championship. He's the one who brought this safety car out as a last ditch attempt to win this championship. Will this work out for him? It would need a miraculous end to the race, because he does have 3 sets of penalties, unfortunately. But if he had no penalties, then perhaps, you know, you could see an opportunity here for him. But we're going to leave the penalties on screen now, and we're just going to let the action unfold. Red Matt is the man who's led this race, who's been the fastest guy out there today.
Look at Risky backing Jamie up. Sorry, Owen. Risky's backing him up.
You can see, but Red Matt, of course, is on his limiter. So he's going to go whenever he's ready. But he shouldn't mess this start up. There's no reason to. But as we go green once again, Jamie's going to pass him.
Jamie.
What a restart. He's straight through. But now these two are side by side up towards turn 1. And that is a very interesting position to be in. As Jamie goes round the outside, doesn't make it work because he's been forced off the road. And look at a bit of contact. Iceman's off. I think Arnold is now fighting with Kyle, and they're banging wheels as well with Jamie and Ben Harrett. There's a lot going on in here, and it's going to be Arnold following Kyle, the 2 drivers who have no penalties and could win this championship as a result.
Lap and a half left to go in this championship race here for JACKOCAR Season 3, and it's going to go down to the final lap. We've got a speed match.
Here comes Arnold! This is for the championship, folks. He's going through, and he's had a bit of a collision. He's lost the position again, and they're going to be coming up to the back markers, who absolutely did not move out of the way, did they? And as we head down towards the end of the long straight, is there any potential for a move? Round the outside goes Arnold again. And Kyle's going to have to keep it on his mirrors here, because he's got to be focused on where that car is going to end up being. These two lost out by so little in Season 2 for the title. You can see the gap is not being built here by Red Matt or Jamie. And Jamie is seeing himself potentially losing the championship. This is going to be massively close. He needs 1 more second as Arnold's into the wall, and that's going to leave it all down to Kyle then. Kyle, as there's contact as Arnold comes back on, but he's got cars in between himself and where he needs to be now, as Kyle's off the road as well, and that's going to really bring the gap down. It's all going off on his last 2 laps, but Kyle is still just about in championship position by about 0.3 of a second. He's got to keep this going, and if he does, the championship's coming his way. Let's see how Jamie's doing. He's got a nice gap to the car behind, so he's not going to be under much pressure. All the timings are glitching on me now, which means I can't really see anything, so they need to hurry up and sort this out, because we're not quite able to see what's going on. It'll all literally come down to the line here, but unfortunately the gaps are gone. But we'll still be able to do it manually, because you can see Kyle, I think he might just be falling outside this here, And it's all sorted itself out now, thank goodness. So we'll get the lap times back on. And it is just about on by literally 0.2 of a second. Is Kyle under any pressure from anyone? No. No pressure. He's not going to be fighting Jakes into the back of other cars, but that's not going to cause any problems. It's all going up. Arnold is completely out of this now. He's way too far back. Kieran,
wow,
is all the way up to 5th place.
Wing damage for Kyle. Wing damage for Kyle.
And that is Pete. That's Pete. That is Pete doing this, and Kieran's just picked up another penalty. And, well, ironically, look at all the speed drivers. They're absolutely manipulating this. But I think all that means that Jamie is going to do it. Jamie's just won this race, and we'll confirm it. He is the Season 4 champion, is he? I'm not sure if Kyle should be up in P1. I'm convinced that the game's done that, but perhaps there's more penalties. The whole thing's glitched on us, unfortunately. But I'd say, as for now, it's Jamie. I'd say Pete causing the damage to Kyle at the end might be what's just won Jamie his second JACKOCAR Cup Series Championship. And I'll tell you what, that's probably an even harsher way to lose it than it was for his first for Kyle, because at the end of the day, Pete helped the wrong man. He helped the wrong man.
I don't know what to say about that. I mean, Kyle looked as though he was so close. It was within corners, and well, Pete, he wasn't even on the throttle in the exit of the corner. Put the breaker on a little bit earlier than what you would do usually into turn 15. Unfortunately, Kyle lost an end plate, and then unfortunately the accordion effect behind. We saw cars all over the shop. We saw the likes of Jake going off, are now of course getting involved in it as well. And well, chaos at the end. We thought it might be, as you can see, a procession of cars making their way around the circuit. Unfortunately, it looks as though it's all falling apart on this last lap. But well, we've got Jamie at the top of this one. We've got Kieran. It was fighting tooth and nail into that loss. I'm not sure if you saw Kieran's last lap, but he was sending it into every single corner. But what a final lap here. We still don't know who's won this championship. It's going to go down
there
to the
you go. It's all sorted itself out now. At least on the screen it has. But Jamie then, by 3.4 seconds, beats Red Matt and Kyle. They are the top 3 at the end of the championship. And then Kieran picks up
out, by the way.
Yeah, that's a mess. This Kieran picks up 4th, and Arne picks up 5th in the championship. Iceman, the one contender of the championship, he got into that top 5, breaking them apart. And I don't really think there's much they can do to take this off Jamie. I do feel that is incredibly harsh, a harsh way to lose it, because at the end of the day, Pete has sabotaged Kyle for no reason, and we've seen championship deciders go down to it being on track. This is the first time we've seen other teams go all out to just ruin the championship 5 races, and that's the one thing, Jacko, you told them not to do, and it's exactly what Pete's done. So I have a feeling Pete might be facing some sort of problems for the start of next season, because if I were a steward, I would have him in a lot of trouble, because he broke pretty much every rule in the book.
Pete is a steward, but we'll talk about that one later.
Yeah.
As it is then, Jamie wins the race, not only becomes the all-time race win leader in the league, he is the Season 4 champion, and the Season 2 champion, 2-time JACKOCAR champion, Jamie Wright. He's done it again. He likes the Americas, and he likes the even numbers, it would appear. So he has got that second crown.
So the order then at the end of the race is Jamie from Red Mat, then Kyle Iceman, Kieran Arnold, Pete Thomas, NK Bourne, Jamie. Then we've got Jake, Jess, Ben, OKK, Risky Patino, Deck, Cam, and Camo Babo. It is Jamie, your champion at the end, and well, he might have done it anyway. In fairness, he might have ended up doing it anyway, because he was getting the gap close. It would have been nice to see how it would have went without the collision. I think Jimmy might have just about edged it anyway. But as it happened, he won it thanks to the collisions that happened further back. So, we have our first ever 2-time JACKOCAR Cup Series champion. It is Jamie. And, well, that leaves us at the end of Season 4 in terms of the racing aspect for the championships, but I believe we do have a few more things coming up, Jacko.
Yeah, next week, the All-Star race coming from Saudi Arabia, Jeddah. First time we've ever gone there. And that's it, actually. It's very much a season close all the way until March the 3rd, I believe, is when Season 5 of the Cup Series starts, which means Kia Series will start either at the end of March or early April, something like that. But yeah, that rounds off another season.
And of course, a massive thank you to Garrett, who joined us tonight to see the Cup Series in action. I think we got definitely the entertainment. I'm not sure how many drivers are going to be happy about the results tonight, but did you enjoy yourself in the box at least?
Oh, well, it was a customary JACKOCAR race, wasn't it? It was great to see. There will be, I'm sure, controversy going late into the night in the Cup Series chat. But yeah, absolutely loved it. Thanks very much to Jacko for inviting me, and of course Owen for guiding away across this one. Really enjoyed it, and March 3rd can't come quick enough, can it?
Absolutely cannot. But in terms of the Cup Series, that is us for this season. Thanks again for joining us. A 4th season, just as successful as the last 3. We're absolutely making strides as always, and giving you entertainment every week. And I hope everyone has enjoyed. And we'll absolutely be looking forward to coming back for season 5, where we go all over again and start the JACKOCAR journey. It's absolutely been a pleasure to stream to everyone this season. Thanks for persisting for the many issues we've had this season. But we have made it to the end. We have a champion, Jamie the 2-time champ. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people looking for redemption next season. You can join me and Jacko as always for that. And until next time, safe travels everybody, and take care.